Elon Musk has arrived in Sun Valley, the Sun Valley conference in Idaho. His Twitter deal, though, might be in jeopardy. Once again, we have doubts over spam accounts, or at least Elon Musk does. He's expected to speak at the conference tomorrow. Today, we find our Bloomberg's Ed Ludlow there. Ed, what are we expecting? What is he expected to say?
Yeah, I'm told by sources that he is expected to address the Twitter deal, or at least get asked about it. That's how the format of the conference works. It's a series of on-stage panel speakers, fireside chats, and often those in attendance do get the opportunity to ask questions as well. And, this is the topic on top of everyone's mind. Sources tell me he arrived yesterday evening. I've not actually laid eyes on him. He came through the back entrance at the back of the resort, which is shut off by security. It's interesting because Twitter's CEO, Parag Agrawal, walked past me twice last night, and twice I asked him, are you worried about this deal? Are you worried about Musk walking away? Are you worried about the reports that the deal's in jeopardy? And he just simply didn't respond. So there are more questions than answers at this point.
Ed, more questions than answered, but I'm curious about the audience here. I mean, you have the likes of Warren Buffett, Bob Iger. Is there any chance that perhaps the iciness of the details around the deal are actually broken, given the audience he's speaking to?
Yeah, but you also have to remember that the Allen & Co. conference is completely behind closed doors, right? These are the unwritten rules that attendees do not discuss. What is discussed inside the room. I think what's interesting is that folks here do have a lot of opinions about what's going on. The Washington Post cited anonymous sources that said Musk's team just don't believe Twitter's data, or the evidence that Twitter is giving is verifiable on the level of bots on the platform. Earlier that day, yesterday, you had Twitter executives give a briefing to explain that, yes, the number of bots on the platform is less than 5%, and we don't believe as Twitter that a third party or outsider can verify it because we use a mix of private and public data. So the timing was very suspect. I think the discussion I'm having here in Sun Valley, in and around the resort, is that we are moving towards perhaps a lower price point. Musk coming back in, because walking away seems very complicated for both sides.
Ed, let's talk about what else you're finding out. There's a lot of people there. They've got fingers in many pies. Yeah. The media sector is quite a good read on what is happening with the consumer. What are you getting? Yeah, so definitely concerns about inflation and recession. The public market volatility has spooked people here. Private market investors across private equity and venture capital basically feel like some of them that they want to keep their powder dry, some of them that you look for opportunity. People remind me that out of the 2000 dot-com bubble, out of the financial crisis in 2008, good companies were born, the likes of Google, the likes of Airbnb, for example. They also talk about the strength of the consumer. That is the one consistency. They still see the consumer globally as having money to spend. And, streaming's a really interesting one. When the times are hard and inflation is high, what do you give up? For me, it seems obvious that I would cancel one of my many subscriptions. I've got all of them. I watch a lot of TV, as you know, Guy. But they here are confident that the consumer will keep spending across telecoms as well. Their broadband, their mobile phone. That was what the Liberty CEO told me as well. So definitely these are the big picture topics top of mind. But I would say there's careful optimism.